Emily Maitlis lied about Dominic Cummings, she broke the rules, and the BBC apologised. Hello everyone and welcome to today's vlog. If you've been following what's been happening on this channel over the past couple of days, we've had BBC Newsnight presenter Emily Maitlis breaking the BBC rules and the BBC Charter rules to personally attack Dominic Cummings and Boris Johnson. The BBC have now been forced to apologise. So we have won this battle. We started this campaign yesterday, over the last couple of days, to ensure that the BBC are forced to apologise, and that's happened. We're getting kind of tired of winning now. So in this video we're going to talk about the backlash. Also, a lot of people have been asking that I haven't been cooking for a while. I've been very lazy. Actually, even today I have leftover pizza. It's a Pizza Hut. It's not usually my thing. I'm usually a Domino's person, but today's Pizza Hut. So this is the statement we have, the apology statement from the BBC. The BBC must uphold the highest standards of due impartiality in its news output. We reviewed the entirety of last night's Newsnight, including the opening section, and while we believe the programme contained fair, reasonable and rigorous journalism, we feel that we should have done more to make clear that the introduction was a summary of the questions we would examine, with all the accompanying evidence in the rest of the programme. As it was, we believe the introduction we broadcast did not meet our standards of due impartiality. Our staff have been reminded of the guidelines. Well, isn't it funny? In the words of Nigel Farage, isn't it funny that they had to be forced to apologise? Now you think that Emily Maitlis herself, who was responsible for that biased monologue, would also apologise. Well, you'd be wrong, because she didn't. Well, firstly, we had Lewis Goodall, who's in charge of the policy at Newsnight. He said, "So much to say, but best to leave it for now, given for obvious reasons certain people want nothing more than to have a debate about the media. Instead, we'll just say that I couldn't be prouder to work on BBC Newsnight, a world-class programme with a world-class presenter, Emily Maitlis. No apologies." And then Emily herself said, "Been overwhelmed by all the kindness, messages and support on here, and I probably missed much of it. A big thank you from us all at Newsnight." Well, Emily Maitlis broke the rules. The country can see that and is shocked that the BBC cannot. I'm using her own words against her. This whole weird thing is that she then had the whole cabal of the mainstream media then coming to defend her because, solidarity. So you had Matthew Thompson in response to the BBC's apology saying, "I'm sorry, but this is just the wrong call completely. And actually just looks a bit spineless. Stand by your journalists." And Lewis Goodall liked it. Now, the other funny thing is that Emily Maitlis was actually replaced last night. They had a different presenter. It's Katie Razzle, who stepped in after the BBC had to basically apologise. So there's a lot of comments on this and why this happened. But before we get into that, Susanna Reid from ITV's Good Morning Britain also defended her, saying it's not okay to do this to Emily Maitlis. She was replaced for Newsnight episode after the Cummings remarks. Now that's the weird part, because not only she hasn't apologised, and her other colleagues from the cabal, the media cabal, they've also been defending her. She was replaced. Now there's been a lot of speculation. This morning Julia Hartley-Brewer on Talk Radio suggested that she's heard that potentially she was asked to present the show if she apologises live on TV, and she probably said no, or that she was asked just to kind of go into hiding. But according to Emily Maitlis herself, she said that I asked for a night off from BBC's Newsnight. Sure, I'm just casual, right? Everything's fine. Now you know how this whole situation over the last few days damaged Boris Johnson's approval ratings. So things have also slightly changed in that department. Now sentiment towards Boris has bounced back from the negative since yesterday's stark figures from Savanta, which showed that the Prime Minister's net approval ratings falling from plus 19 points to -1 in just 4 days. And so this is already kind of slightly changing. Now, the other thing to mention is that according to Guido Fawkes, despite the fact that we've had a number of Tory MPs coming out against Dominic Cummings over the last few days, that's also changing as British politics nears a full week of Talking about Dominic Cummings, the peak of the scandal appears to have passed. Nick Watt reported on Newsnight last night that a group of anti-Cummings Tories are conceding defeat. This is after the Prime Minister's performance at the liaison committee yesterday. So they're also basically just giving up and say, fine, let's just move on. And when you look at the front page of most of the papers today, no more talks of Cummings really. They're now talking about Emily Maitlis and everything else, and yeah, it's all gone now. Now, this whole BBC scandal is exposing the true face of the mainstream media, specifically the BBC as an organisation. Madeline Grant wrote an opinion piece in the Telegraph on this issue. So Madeline in this article talks about how this whole row has exposed the BBC's true partisan colours. She's right, because she mentions how as a concept, the mainstream media in the UK, especially the BBC with their charter, they're supposed to be impartial and balanced and professional. But that's the structure. The individuals inside these outlets, especially these days, are partisan. They have a certain agenda, and it's difficult to work for an organisation where it forces you to be impartial when you're not. Someone like Lewis Goddell. So sometimes they get into trouble because of this, and that's the problem. And I personally have no problem with bias necessarily. If an outlet wants to be left-wing or right-wing or whatever, as long as they are open and honest with people about their leanings. On this channel, I'm always honest and open about the fact that I'm a classical liberal conservative leaning channel. So when you report the facts, you say these are the facts. When you're expressing your opinion, just say this is my opinion and let people decide for themselves. If on any issue, I always advise people to read the kind of the point of views from both left, right, centre, everywhere, and also research into the actual facts, and then form your own opinion instead of just creating an echo chamber like The Guardian or the BBC for that matter. Now, on a lighter note, we have an update for you from Alistair Campbell, the man behind the dodgy dossier. He is officially losing his mind. This man hates Dominic Cummings so much that he decided to make a video to make fun of Cummings, which just made him look like an idiot.
God save my gracious Dom, long live my darling Dom, God save my Dom. Send him to face the press, that should clear up the mess, like Andrew's Pizza Express, God save my Dom. There's just, what did she say, Prime Minister? Great sense of humour, Queenie, great sense of humour. She said, F you snivelly little Anyway, there she is. Love.
I mean, it's just embarrassing, Alistair. Like, stop doing things like this. The whole point behind this is that Alistair Campbell has always been envious of Dominic Cummings, because Dominic Cummings' life and career is what Alistair Campbell always dreamed of, to actually have more influence. I know he had a lot of influence over Tony Blair, but the success of Dominic Cummings, he's always been envious of that, and he just didn't reach that level. So this is the whole point behind Alistair Campbell's idiotic video. The other thing I want to mention is that it seems like they're going to ease the lockdown quicker than we thought. They might actually even open the pubs before July, which means hopefully by the end of July and then August, normality should resume, which means we're going to bring back the free speech tour around the country. If you guys remember, I was going to start from Manchester. We did one in London. We had about 500, 600 people coming, which was really great. And so we're going to start the free speech tour again from Manchester. We're going to go to all the big towns and cities around the country. And obviously the members of the channel will get priority access to the tickets. So if you're a member, then obviously I'll keep you guys posted. If you're not a member, then make sure to join as a member and support the channel to get priority access and other things as well. The weekly Q&As and everything else we have. And the link is in the description, or you could just find the join button next to subscribe, or on your browser you could type in youtube.com/myitc/join. And if you're new to the channel, then don't forget to subscribe on MyITC. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a new video.